Because the nature of the game of golf means that we have to hit lots of very different shots. We have to try and hit the hardest drives we can hit. We have to try and hit long iron shots. We have to hit high shots and low shots and putts. That whenever I sit down with a golfer and I say, what's your favourite club? I very rarely get the same answer every time. Some people say, well, the driver's my favourite club, Pete, because I love hitting it 250 yards dead straight. Other people hate the driver. They want the shortest club in their bag. They find that the easiest to hit. Other people like those mid-iron shots from the fairway because it's the shots they practice the most. So it's very difficult to actually work out what's the easiest club and what's the hardest club to hit. The club that you probably miss-hit the least is going to be the putter. Very rarely do you miss-hit the putter, but actually the job of the putter is probably the hardest to do as well, because you've got the smallest target, you've got the smallest margin of error. So the putter for a lot of people isn't necessarily the easiest club. Likewise, the wedges. People think wedges are going to be quite easy because they're quite short and they have plenty of loft on them. But the areas around the green where you're using wedges will often have the most trouble. The most ponds, the most bunkers, maybe a bit of out of bounds over the back of the green. And the difference between a good wedge shot and a bad wedge shot can be very critical as well. You could be setting up for a little 20-yarder over a bunker, catch it thin and hit it 60 yards straight out of bounds at the back. So a wedge, not necessarily the easiest club to use either. Then we come to the sort of standard iron. Now this is a club that I think most people don't have too many issues with, possibly because it's the club they learn with. Most people that I teach, we learn with a 7 or a 6 iron. It's the club they start hitting on the driving range. So for most people, 7 iron tends to be the bread and butter, their most favourite club. Then we look at the longer irons. Now a lot of people these days drop in the longer irons because they find those quite difficult, put in hybrid clubs in. Now if you're struggling with your long irons, I would encourage you to take 3, 4, maybe even 5 iron out and put at least 2, maybe 3 hybrid clubs in there. I've got my Thomas Golf 4 hybrid here. Great club, hits the ball really nicely instead of having my 4 iron in the bag. And then we've got the driver, the longest club of all. Generally speaking, the longest club and the one with the least loft is going to be the hardest to hit. But then again, it's the club that we give you a tee peg with. You're allowed to tee the ball up a couple of inches off the ground and sweep it away. Generally, the tee shot, you're always standing on a flat lie. The teeing ground is leveled out for you. Generally speaking, you've also got the biggest target to aim for down there. You don't have to land on the green, you have to land on the fairway. So actually teeing off might be an easier shot for you. I think in answer to which is the easiest club to hit and how you should actually play it, I think as long as your clubs are well fitted for you and you don't have too little loft in the driver, you don't have too stiff a shaft, you don't have too many long irons in there. I don't mind if you have favourite clubs, but I think having least favourite clubs is a problem. So what I would encourage you to do is take any clubs in your bag that you haven't hit recently and any clubs that you would deem to be your least favourite clubs, take those to the driving range. Go and work on making your least favourite clubs your favourite clubs. Different psychology next time you go on the golf course. You might start reaching for your least favourite golf club first and hitting that one nicely.